do have a problem. That is, I do not know how to build the best database of Notion because in the past I've always get a template. So let's see what AI can help me with. Hey angels, welcome back to Alien Unleashed. I know that many of you can empathize with me. The problem for us multi-passionate and multipotentialite is how do we manage all of our interests while at the same time keep a full-time job or maybe manage a family, having relationships all at once. How do I make progress on them if I keep switching? For the past few months, I've found that increasingly as I'm committing to YouTube more and more, I'm using at least 11 to 15 hours weekly just on YouTube. So for me right now, it is so important to manage my time properly and to manage each of my projects and each of my interests. I've thought long and hard about this, but what I need right now is a project management system. Something that is very efficient, very simple, very practical, that I can just go into it at once. And I invite you to build along with me today using the principles I'm going to speak about and to build your own system and see what works for you and what doesn't. Well, the challenge right now for me is how can I build a very simple system, because in the past I've had a second brain, I've done project management, I've used the power method, but you know what, after a few months I just found them too overwhelming. I end up not using any and I just prefer using a notebook. But now I feel like a notebook is no longer usable for me because I cannot bring so many notebooks around everywhere. I want to look at everything that I need from the system. I'm going to sketch it out on paper, and then with the use of AI, let's build it together. I have done so many research about what's the best way to learn, and today I want to incorporate that learning that I have into the system as well. It's going to be efficient, it's going to help me propel on all of my interests. So I think there's lots here to unpack. Let's get into it. So as Simon Sinek said, start with why. Let's go to the drawing board and think why we need this system. The very thing that I need it for is to track my current interest. I currently have maybe 5 or 6 running interests right now. So I'm doing YouTube. I am also learning how to sing, dance. I'm still maintaining my sketchnoting and my writing. 5 things that I'm doing all at once. For me is to really track all of the current interests that I have, because it is so much easier just to put them on hold if I have a place for it. And I will not feel regret if I had to archive a skill. Always have the resources and what I have built for it. So never worry, never going to start from scratch. The second thing is I want to be able to pick up an interest, a skill, whenever I have time. For example, if I have 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, I want to be able to come into this system at a click of a button. I'm gonna know what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes that will move me forward. The third thing that I need from it is to have a centralized place to have all the notes and resources that I need at the time to be able to do what I need to do. If I'm learning how to do public speaking, I'm going to need resources on what speaking I need to do at that time and what kind of learnings I need to perform. Like if I need to practice how to deliver with impact or persuasion, right? So you probably think, oh, this is so much work, why not just buy a template? I actually have had templates from other people before, but the problem with template is that you didn't think about the design. The person who made it had no idea what your needs are. And I think everyone has such a unique way to work. Nick Milo, who I mentioned a lot on this channel, he is brilliant at building system and building a PKM. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said that structured must be earned. The advice that he gives is do not overcomplicate and do not build something just to build it. You have to have a need for it. Very important, structure must be earned. Everything needs to have a purpose. That is the advice I'm going to use today. Now, on to what I actually need in the system. So planning, it needs to have an intention or my goal post for that interest or that passion. We'll also need a project that will link to each interest. I want to be able to pick this up very easily, so I'm going to use Hemingway Bridge. It will have a link to goal and skill interest area. And also underneath each project, I will want to see a plan, action, task for each of them so that I can pick it up anytime. And as part of a very important learning principles, I'm going to need a place for reflection. This is going to be very important for me to remember where I was at last time and also to give me direction on what to do next. And the last thing, it needs to have like a dedicated space for skill and interest. So I will need a space for skill and interest area because this is where I can track my progress. And what I want from it is it has to have a plan for me to learn. That's all the brain dump. All right, now onto the actual fun part, sketching it. Okay, the catch is I need to build this system within an hour because my roommate's coming to be back and I cannot film this video because it's so embarrassing. So let's get to work. An hour starts now. Every great brainstorm session started with some sticky notes. Look at those. And now we have skill dashboard first. I think that's where everything will link together. So let's do that. Skills dashboard. The thing I'm going to need from it is progress. So let's see. I'm just progress. I don't know what it will look like. Going to need progress. I want to track my goal of it. It should be right. If it's on the stove, I'm going or simmering. That's just running in the background. Also, I want to see a reflection log. From learning a lot about the science of learning, I have learned that enhanced memory and retention is one of the benefits for reflection after a study session or a practice session. When you pause to reflect, you're actively processing information rather than just passively receiving it. And this helps with deeper engagement, which helps to transfer knowledge from short-term to long-term memory. So you will be more likely to remember what you learned weeks and months later. Another benefit is deeper understanding because it helps you to move beyond surface level facts to really understand underlying concepts and connection. You think about why something works or how it relates to what you already know, and you can build a richer mentor framework. And learning development is a resource. Okay, so what is, I think when I want to look, what are my current goals? I want to be able to really just go inside and see where I am at. So I really like the term, I guess, amateur. So amateur is where I would define I don't even know what I don't know. Whereas pro, I already have a base standing and I will be able to like create, for example, if I'm a baker of many years, I do not need to know how to whisk something, so I am able to just follow a clean recipe. Whereas at amateur level courses and pro, I will need different types of resources and skill as well. Then the resources that relate to the skill, it needs to be divided into different formats. So format, okay, ignore my absolutely horrendous thing. For example, if I am learning how to bake, decorate, then I'm gonna need a video about how can I whisk up this cream and how I can make it into a flour, for example. So that is what I'm building for that particular interest. I think this is what I envision to make a e-learning where I can just click inside. I know how long I have to spend on it, and then I'm just going to go for it and spend a couple, I don't know, minutes working on that. Now I think that's pretty simple. With the other thing, you need to know that and and my thought to practice next. So that when I have worked on a million other things, I'm going to come back here exactly what to work on. I think what's missing here is probably a ongoing project, because if I'm just doing this, then I must add one for project. Oh, I think I'm pretty happy with this little. All right, the next very important one is to build a project dashboard, because that is the wrong way around. Project dashboard. This is going to be very important for us to make progress on the skills that we have in mind. So this is going to be a really quick. So the first principle of a project planning that I learned from Tiago is to have next step. So is to build a Hemingway bridge. So what I'm going steps for the next step, what do I need to do? I think that is going to, so the thing that I need to see is all the different projects that I have happening right now. And I think I want it to be a Kanban board of a list in ascending order of urgency, and so that I know what I'm working on, and also it needs to show what skills that. And then once I go on to the specific project, for example, cake, that is going to take me to a different project called project page. What are my next actions? So this bridge, this is called a Hemingway bridge, where you would where Hemingway is notoriously has left clues for his future. He can keep writing, so that writes his novels, because with future self sit down, he knows exactly what to do. Myself up fossil. I would also want to be able to see what kind of skills this relate to, relationship with skill. Obviously, I need to know what the plan is and how do I move with it, and what's the key measure. And somehow, I don't know how, but it's all going back to going to link back to the skill dashboard that I have, so that I'm able to just really at one skill everything. So with this skill that is here, I want to be able to just link that to the skill dashboard and the resources that I will need, so that there's this very seamless experience of moving from project to skill and skill to project, and then knowing exactly what to do with it. Well, I think that is a very rough structure. It's very simple right now, but as I have learned the hard way, that is, if I make things too complicated, there's a very high chance that I'm not going to be able to keep up with the system. So we have 47 minutes left, and now is this time to build it on the actual Notion system itself. Of course, I turned to my friend YouTube to learn about Notion AI. After that, I went into the Notion AI prompt chat and give it a prompt of the components of database that I would need help with. It took about 5 seconds just to build my skill dashboard and project overview, which is so sweet. Clicking through the skill dashboard, I see that there is still this is still too rough, and I need to actually turn this skill database into an actual database and not just text. So I did it myself, went into the create a database. So I went to create a database myself using those properties that I have listed there. This was just done manually, creating each individual properties. And everything took me about 5 minutes to create this skill dashboard. Then I went ahead to create a skill template. Just adding my goals, progress, a few things that I listed out before. Then I realized I need a space for reflection log, so I've created a database. The properties that I have created and drafted were skill, data practice, reflection notes, and the focus. I also ensured that skill was related to my skill dashboard in order to make sure that every time I go into that baking skill, this reflection log will show. Then I turned the reflection log into an inline database so that I could see at a glance what I've worked on, and really just whenever I come to these skills, I know when and what I work on last time. After that, I just went into I did that already. Then I created a new database for my resources hub, and I realized that I could just use AI for this, so I told it to create my resources hub, and in a matter of 1 minute I was able to make such a good database that I've spent so much time on doing manually before. It felt so silly for doing that. It literally just gave me so many ideas of what properties I could use, and even create the right type for it as well. Next, I need a practice hub, which will record the skills that I want to work on each time. Again, I turned to Notion AI to help me build this practice hub, just telling it a few things that I needed, and it created a really sweet database involving practice session, skill, module, time commitment, and link, and I just linked those to my reflection log and resources hub. Next thing I did, I went into the skill dashboard and created I went into project dashboard and created a new database for my projects. Turned that into a database with Notion AI again, just a couple minutes here and there, and voila, we've got a project. I just had to tweak a few things, but overall I was pretty happy with what Notion has suggested to me. And I only had 3 minutes to go. I still have a whole project template left to do. I just frantically deleted everything, created a really basic project system which had plan, key measures, things like that. Then, with a few minutes left, I just tidy up my whole system, deleted everything that's not needed, and pasting. And because everything was on the same page, I just wanted to store them into individual pages so that when I move things around, the dashboard doesn't get affected. Here we go. This is what I came up with after an hour. And I will be back tweaking some things. Alright, this is me from the future. I have worked on this for another hour or so. What I did, just make it a bit as more aesthetic, change a little bit of icon, add some icon here and there, add headings and photos. Let's have a look. On the front page, we'll see straight away what kind of skills I'm working on at the moment, and then the active project to support those skills. I also have hidden all my databases into separate pages. Now on the skill dashboard, I have the name of the skill I'm working on, the status, just like we planned. These are linked to the project, and I will be able to see when did I practice it last and what's my progress. So this is actually also a relation that is linked to my practice hub. Project dashboard have my current ongoing project. I'm able to see what's ongoing and what is my number one focus. Actually, a few YouTube videos, my utmost important project right now. Then from that, we have my reflection journal, which will show when's the last time I practiced, what I did, what's the next learning session looking like, and what skills are related to. Resources Hub is kind of like what I envision as a online learning hub. I would have all the skills, would have all the resources that would be supporting me on learning this skill, all at a glance without spending any time, and that will reduce so much of the friction that I encounter every time I sit down, because I have no idea where to find those from. So there's the name, the type, I would have courses, article, video, book tools, link to the resource priority, which means the high quality or low quality resource. Status, not status, whether I have looked at it or not. The date I add so that I know if any of these are outdated. And some notes. Practice Hub. This is where the magic happens. This is going to be like putting everything in motion, because I will be able to tell you what I'm working on right now if I have a spare 15 minutes. It is divided by the name of practice session, so that's the skill that I need to the skills I need to focus on, what that's related to, module, and how long that would take to do. Also linked to resources. Now the last one is project dashboard we have seen before. I actually really need to update this, so let's do that together now. The one skill that I want to actively work on is sketchnoting. It's been a few minutes since I've done anything with sketchnoting, so I really want to pick up the pace again. It's going to be an active skill that I'm gonna do, and I've thought about the project for this. It would be sketchnoting a whole book that I'm going to be reading. So let's just create a new project for that. It'll be amateur level. Alright, now up, let's go to project dashboard. So we'll move sketchnote a book to an active project. Now we need to set up the actual project itself. Alright, skip this one. Now let's set up this sketchnoting dash skill. We go with hit skill template. My goal for this is to use sketchnoting as a thinking tool and comprehend knowledge better. My progress is amateur. Now I need to filter these by the skill itself. Let's just reset everything and filter by skill. Okay. So thinking of the skill that I need to know from sketchnoting, that would be how to drawing vocabulary. That will be a technique. It's going to take me short, maybe 15 minutes to practice. The resources, I actually have a resource for this. I have a vivid to visual course. I'm going to add it as a course, drop out the link later, and this is really high quality, high reward type of resource, so it is at a high level. So let's just hasn't updated. Here we go. I have connected that to my resource. Let's say I'm about to practice right now. That just created a new reflection journal for me. I will draw a page of action. And after today practice, I found out that I need to work on drawing people's feet better. Still struggling to draw feet. Watch some tutorial. There we go. That is how we use this to practice. And now every time I practice, I am closer to sketchnoting a whole book because I'm building up my skills. Well, I hope you have enjoyed watching and building this Notion database together. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. If you found this useful, you might find my Multipassionate series useful. Until next time, take care.